Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is October 16th. I have my coffee, I have a lot to show you, and we'll get going. Good coffee this morning. How is everybody, by the way? It's really awesome to hear. I'm glad. Alright, so we've got Countdown to Halloween. A tiny little, well, not tiny, well, some haul. And, train of thought just slipped. Whip updates, Q&A, and of course Oz. So we'll get going with the Q&A, because there's not that much this week. Lulu asks, what is the Nemo thread used for? It's actually used for beading, and I actually used it this week. Let's see, Sandra Stitches, and this is actually a comment from way back on video 27, which was ages ago, but she's surprised that I don't like Anne of Green Gables. And yeah, I'm still not a big fan of Anne of Green Gables. Let's see, Stitchcraft and Scissordry remind me that my Piglet needle minder came from Charisse from Stitchingly Along. I'm not sure if she still got a group or not, because she got it after the same one, after I enabled her on that one. So, she may not be posting there anymore. I'm not sure. Minnie Gray asks, what is my opinion of The Wiz? Overall, I really love The Wiz. It does some very interesting things. It does some things that are very different from the from the MGM film, while still telling the same story. And it's one of my favorite musicals. I think it's underrated in some ways. The movie is a hot mess, but I do love the movie, but that's literally like a 3-hour discussion on its own. So, opinion of The Wiz, I really love The Wiz. Glad to know a lot of people agreed with me about Columbus Day. Let's see, Auntie Jen Stitches reminded me that I forgot to mention something last week that I will mention this week, and I'm a terrible person for it. I'm glad I was early on wishing people happy Thanksgiving, and not late. I think that was really everything. And Kelly Bill Stitches, I do agree, the book Wicked is not as good as the musical. But don't worry, hang on to your thoughts on Glinda, because they're coming from me too. Alright, so we'll do our haul and then countdown to Halloween. If you have questions, please send them my way. I do love the questions. Alright, so I got some needle minders from Delicious Threads. Cute pair of ruby slippers, a fabric Luna Lovegood, the spell book from Hocus Pocus, because I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe seeing if instead of stitching the book and the Sanderson sisters in the Clouds Factory Hocus Pocus, I may use needle minders for the entire thing. I think that might be fun. And then this really cool Salute to Death stamp that I think is actually going to be what goes on my pumpkin passport. Because it's a stamp. And it's kind of morbid. Don't judge me. You don't know my life. Alright, the next thing. So Eric Shipley of Ship's Manor is doing a mystery stitch-along called Beautiful Sea. And he dyed some thread packs specifically for it. So I got the thread pack. Those of you on Facebook know that I enabled a crap ton of people to do this one. I highly recommend doing it. It's $6. It's going to be about the same size as the Welcome Sal from Tempting Tangles. Who is also having a sale, and I'm really having to use some very strong willpower right now. But I highly encourage you to join. And the colors are all gorgeous. You get, if you order the thread pack, you get, they're all cottons. Orange Grove, Sea Siren, Lavender Parasol, Ancient, Bonnie's Blue, Button Eyes, Rainforest, Between the Shadows, and Calypso. So I will be starting that here in the next, actually probably today. And I'm doing it on 36 count Arial by Picture This Plus. So there's the fabric. So I have to pick my needle minder for it still. I don't know what I'm going to use yet, but that'll be coming. So there you go. Yeah, but I highly recommend it to everybody because it looks really cool. You get, the first part is a really cool ocean border and some fish, and it's supposed to be Quaker inspired. So that's kind of cool too. Alright, so now we've got our countdown to Halloween. So day 10 brought us these tiny wooden spools. I set my coffee cup down on its little descriptor. They're little wooden spools that make a great addition to scissor fob or other finishing. Wrap some of your favorite Halloween-colored floss around them and secure them with a bit of glue. So you got 5 of them. I don't know if everybody else got the exact same colors I did. I got 2 yellow and an orange and 2 greens. So I got those. Day 11 was Sun-Baked Orange Silk from Fiberlicious. It is spun silk. And it's actually got, and she even says this, it's got kind of a woolen texture. And you get 40 single strands. So, got some of that. Day 12 was very exciting, but it's almost too cute to use. It is Batty McBatface Waxer, and it's, where'd it go? It's beeswax shaped like a bat. And it's super cute. And it's from Noteworthy Needle. Like I said, it's so cute, I kind of don't want to use it. That was day 12. Day 13, Vintage French Peacoat Trim. About a ½ yard. There it is. And this is vintage rayon trim from France. So, and you can use it for finishing. Day 14 was Weeping Willow from Classic Colorworks. This one says it is used in one of the charts in this shipment, so I'm guessing there's going to be a second chart. And then day 15, which I kind of figured was going to be, is a pattern. And it is Quaker Pumpkin. It is by Quaker Fantasies by Ori T.M. She's the same one that did Quaker Mermaid. She's got a really cool Quaker Alice, and rumored a Quaker Wizard of Oz that's coming, and I'm excited for that. Yeah. So this is really, really cool, and I think I'm probably going to try and tackle that here in another day, here sometime soon-ish. Hello. So now we get day 16. Let's see what it is. Feels like fabric. It is fabric. Whoop. This is embroidery linen for finishing. Try using this flax-colored embroidery linen in combination with your dusty purple linen from day 7 for finishing. Check out today's post for an example. So there it is. And actually, that vintage peacock might work really well. Maybe make like a little small cushion out of it. Although, depending on how big it is, it may be another one of those sort of hoop finishes. Which, while I'm on the subject of hoops, how the heck do you back a really big hoop? Because most of the things I've done in hoops have been just 4 inches, and I just take a piece of felt and I cut around. What do I do for the big ones? Because I still have not finished off Octopus Treasure Garden, or Treasure Cave, and I really would like to. So, throwing that out there to anybody who's got an answer. Alright. So there you go. I guess next up is whips, and we actually have a finish this week. I'll show that towards the end. So, this week, at lunch, I worked on Things Unseen. Actually, I can put that back in the box of floss. I'm not going to take it off the Q-snap because it's in a place that's a little hard to get it repositioned with the tightness that I want. But I got all of the straw done, and I started in on parchment here. So once that's done, it's just the border. So I expect, generally it takes about 2 lunch breaks to finish one of the rows. So I would expect that I will finish the parchment tomorrow, Tuesday at the latest, and then we'll just start in on the border. So, it's coming along. Alright, then I worked on Magical Creatures, and unfortunately I not going to be able to finish it this month, mostly for floss reasons. The floss I had picked to do the blue in the house wasn't working. And it wasn't a good match with old purple paint, and I'm very committed to using old purple paint. So here's what I did get done. I need to get a lighter contrasting purple that's not just bright purple to go with old purple paint, and then I need to get some blue-greens to finish out this. I have verdigris left over from Things Unseen, which would be perfect, but I don't have a color it goes well with. So it's going to have to wait for my next LNS run. And then I didn't really have a good silk that I thought of, because opal is kind of a weird color, and opal is the birthstone for October. So I need to go somewhere where I can sort of sit through, because I just didn't really have one that I thought worked in my stash. So that's where I'm at for now on Magical Creatures. It's not a lot that's left to finish. So if I don't get that part specifically done this month, because I don't think I'll have a day where I can get over to Stitch Niche between now and then. So if I don't get that finished, I know I will in November, because I know for sure I will be there one day in November. Alright, so then I also yesterday worked on National Parks. I had just that little bit left to do on Clue 2, that was the metallic. And it's done. I used, for the sun, I used Topaz from Krynic, Colonial Red, and then the same orange that was in Seaflora in the Lava. And it looks really cool. So I'm gonna kind of hold here because I've got the top row still to do, the top part of the border, but part of me is debating I may not actually do that. I kind of want to wait and see when it's all done. Do I really like it? Because that does sort of really limit it into what it is. And if I'm going to give it to my grandmother, that may limit her appeal for it. If that makes any sense. Because I'm thinking this may go to my grandmother, but it may not. Who knows? With me, I mean, anything is possible. So, all I know is I'm enjoying it. And that's what really matters in the long run, right? Exactly. Alright, before we get to the finish, for sure this week, I'm going to do part 3 of the Welcome Salve from Tempting Tangles. Part 3 is basically a mirror of part 2. And these don't take very long, so I will probably have this finished by lunchtime, and then I'll move on to, I think, By the Beautiful Sea. Or, I'm calling it By the Beautiful Sea, I think it's just Beautiful Sea. But I'm calling it By the Beautiful Sea. Still left to work on this month. Let's see, and I don't think I've got a pen back here. Oh, I have a white gel pen, which is not going to do me a damn bit of good. Okay, I don't have a pen, so I can't check anything off, but we've got Brooks Oz finished. We've got Magical Creatures as finished as I can get it. Things Unseen. National Park Clue 2, and I can't start Clue 3 yet. So that leaves Welcome Sal, which I'm about to do. We've got Wonderland. We've got Let's Go on an Adventure for Pumpkin Passport. All Cross Stitch on Beekeeper. The Clouds Left on Longfellow's Round Tower. 2 of the Storytime Sampler. And Finishing the Spell and the Details on Hocus Pocus. So I'm not as far along as I would like to be, largely because Magical Creatures took so much longer than I expected it would. Normally it's done in 2 to 3 days, and this time it was almost 5. So, yeah. But that's okay, because we've still got 2 full weeks left of October. And again, there are things that I can shift if they don't get done. So, which is fine. But that's where I'm at goal-wise. Alright, so those of you who follow me on Instagram, Facebook already know, but we have a finish. I finished Oz Sal by Pedal Pusher, which is on Etsy. This is done on 32 count As You Like It, which is from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I used basically the called for flosses. The colors that I change occasionally, like when I first started, there were a couple of colors that I didn't have, so I just used very close approximations. So I really tried to limit the changes. The last part probably got the bulk of them. In part 1, I used 2 wools from Dragonfly Lotus for the clouds, and I used Irish Countryside from Gentle Arts for the grass in Kansas. So those are the definite changes. I did leave out the raindrops because overall I decided I think I liked it better without the raindrops. Part 2 was Munchkinland. I put beads in the center, for the center of the big flowers, which you can't really see unless you're looking at it that way. I picked colors that didn't show as well as I thought they would, but that's okay. They're definitely there, and you can see them when you're looking at them. I actually used DMC Light Effects in the pink for the outside of the flowers, and I used a Krynic, but I don't remember which one, for the darker color in the yellow flowers. And then I used Saffron from Weeks Dye Works for the Yellow Brick Road. I used red DMC Light Effects for the Ruby Slippers, and then I gave her stripy socks. And those are really the only changes I made in this one. The only changes I made in this center section were, and I didn't realize it until it was too late, there was supposed to be a highlight color in the heart, and I accidentally left it out. And then I used a metallic gold Krynic for the badge, and then the little seal on the diploma. Part 3 was the Castle of the Wicked Witch of the West. I did a little extra backstitching to her costume just because I could. I used another Dragonfly Lotus wool for the clouds. I used grits from Weeks Dye Works for the crystal ball. And I used a DMC Light Effects for the sand in the hourglass. So that's everything in that one. And then the last block had the biggest changes. I used little black beads for the poppies. For Dorothy, for the ruby slippers, I used the DMC Light Effects again. For the forward part of the Yellow Brick Road, I used saffron again. But for the back part, I used lemonade, because it was supposed to be a slightly lighter color. I used DMC, the variegated green that was sort of a seafoam green, for the front part of the grass, so it would look like snow. And then the back part, I actually used Karen Collections Holiday, so that it looked like Poppy Field. I used 3 different Cryonics in the Emerald City. I used Cryonic Pearl for all the snowflakes. And then I added Glinda, because I really wanted Glinda to be in the sampler, and Barb okayed the decision. So I did Glinda and her bubble hovering over them. So, there you go. There is the completed Oz Sal. It's gorgeous. It was, and I said this both in her group, I said this on my main page, I'm going to say it again, that this first part I didn't say, my only complaint was that it was only 4. I wish she had done more, because I just absolutely loved stitching on this. It was an absolute joy to do. I have no complaints. She captured the movie so beautifully. She did a fabulous job. I'm even picking up some very interesting details. And I haven't asked her. I don't know if she's watched the movie several times to get this, or if she just referred to stills. But, down to the fact that the big hollyhocks in Munchkinland are predominantly pink and yellow. The mountains in the Witch's Castle are stunning. And there were times that, color-wise, I was like, well, these are kind of odd. Like, for the lion, they're 2 shades of orange. And when I was looking at them on the bobbin, I was thinking, this is really weird. I'm not sure this is going to work. And then, oh my gosh, it did work. And it worked beautifully. She's got a real knack and gift for color. And I urge anyone who hasn't done a pedal pusher, if they're all as enjoyable as Oz is, I cannot recommend them enough. I think they're fantastic, and Barb, you did a beautiful, beautiful job. So, Oz Sal is finished, and I'm sad that it's done. Alright. And I have a whole bag of floss that I have to sort back into the box now. Alright, so that brings us to this next Oz item. This is probably the most boring of the things I'm going to show you. These are just Wizard of Oz paper dolls. These came out early, like in about 2008, I think. And they're basically the Dinsel illustration. So you get Dorothy and Toto, you get Dorothy's Kansas outfit, you get Dorothy and Oz, you get Munchkins, you get the Witch of the North. It gives you basically everyone you could possibly need. Dorothy does have red shoes. You get Scarecrow and you get him with his green glasses and him on the pole. You get, Rusted Tin Man. You get Tin Man with a heart. You get the Wicked Witch of the West and a couple of her different costumes. Or poses, I guess I should say. And that's the most interesting thing about this set, is that it's not so much that they're different clothes, so much as they're just different poses. Like, you get different lion faces. You get the wizard, you get the wizard's head. Dorothy carried by flying monkeys. So this is really designed more to actually... there's Glinda. This one's really designed more to let you tell the story and act it out than it is to just be dress up and make your own stories. Which is what does kind of... It and the one I'm going to show you next week, it does separate themselves for that. So, there you go. The Wizard of Oz paper dolls. So we got 2 more sets of paper dolls, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to show y'all in November. Maybe pop-up books? Maybe? Have I done pop-up books? I don't remember. I don't know, it may be pop-up books, it may be something completely different. Who knows? I don't yet. Alright, so I think that's just about everything on my side. So I hope everyone has a great week, and I will see you all next week.